and it also supports the InfoWar at the same time. We've got the lowest prices there on longevity products at InfoWarsTeam.com or 877-551-1301 if you want to call folks that have joined our team and become members of our operation here to educate people. 877-551-1301. They can tell you how to become a distributor for it, because I promote what I believe in. And I believe in private property, the family, the Second Amendment, national sovereignty, and I know that the elites are all obsessed. Doc Wallach, I've been reading articles even in the LA Times and in other papers where the elites know everything you know. They're obsessed with trace elements and raw minerals, the type of stuff that you've developed, and not these synthetic ones. They are obsessed with purified water. They don't eat GMO. At the Monsanto laboratory, the London Independent and AP reported more than a decade ago. I heard this like a month ago and went and looked it up, and it was something I didn't know, over a decade old. And there were some new articles where at all the Monsanto facilities, their scientists refuse to have GMO served in the cafeteria on these research reservations. So, I mean, the Queen of England's obsessed. The Chinese elite who are shoveling GMO and all these other people, they are obsessed. Turns out they have secret government gardens for their food. I mean, this is mainstream news, though. Why do you think the controllers know this and enjoy shoveling this at the population?
Well, Alex, there's no doubt the research shows very clearly that chemicals in our diet and GMOs and all these various things you mentioned do have a terrible impact upon the human physiology. And that supplementing with all 90 essential nutrients like you find in the Alex Pack do protect you. Well, this is extremely well known in the human health industry. It's certainly known at the high government levels. And these people, what should I say, they're certainly in it for themselves. And I think it's a form of enslavement. It's very seductive, and even a Senate committee came out and said that the medical system has learned how to game the insurance system. They'll bill for 8 different agencies for one procedure they did. You and I would go to jail for insurance fraud if we did that. The doctors get a walk because they spend more money on PAC committees than any other group of individuals. And so the elected officials love the medical system because of the money that flows to the PAC committees from the medical system and the pharmaceutical industry. And so this is why I've spent 35 years of my life, and you're spending most of your professional life getting information out to the public, because the strength of America is the basic citizen. It's always been the citizen soldier, the citizen politician, if you will, the citizen out there in the corner preaching the truth. And when it comes to health, we're going to have to take control here. We cannot depend on the medical system. We cannot depend on the government. Certainly can't depend on the people in it, because they just do whatever the doctors say. So we have to teach our kids to begin to do these things at a very young age. When somebody has cancer or they have diabetes when they're 70 years old, in their minds they have to depend on the government and they have to depend on the doctor. Well, if we eliminate diabetes and we eliminate heart disease and we eliminate cancer and we eliminate Alzheimer's disease, which we can do, you'll find that we don't need the doctors and we can be citizen soldiers again.
By the way, I got to stop you right there, because you're right in the animal studies. I wanted to be conservative and said they've doubled rats and mice and guinea pigs, but anybody can type that in. In fact, guys, just show viewers randomly type in, and then click web, because it'll go back over years. Type rats double lifespan under new treatment, and then it'll say it's a wide spectrum of trace minerals and trace elements. And the same thing, they've done it with insects, they've done it with dogs, they've done it with cats. They know this because in that industry, they want to milk and get more money out of your animal living longer, so they've gotten competitive. But with humans, they make money off of killing you or making you sick and then keeping you alive. But you mentioned Alzheimer's. These stories we're telling, Aaron losing 91 pounds, it was like 87 pounds a month ago when he was on. I've lost over 40 pounds. Ted Anderson was going to have knee surgery. He hobbled around when he came to visit me, an old sports injury. He went on the essential fatty acids and the OsteoFX Plus, and all of that, and his knee feels great. Gone. Now, the sad story, but I'm authorized to tell it. I've told it like 5 times, I'll tell it again. His father goes fishing, they go pheasant hunting, Alzheimer's, never had a heart attack, never had a stroke, but the doctors have him on Coumadin. He has the sores on his arms. It's making him, have all these problems. Doesn't know who he is. Ted was going to have to stop taking him fishing and stuff. Then he gets him on the Tangy Tangerine, the essential fatty acids, and the Osteo FX Plus, the stuff that's in the Alex pack. Within a few months, miraculously, Ted described it as half the Alzheimer's. He knew who he was. He could have fun. It was coming back. Short term, long term, his dad was back. God bless her. She believes in the medical doctors. She took him to the doctor, and the doctor tested his blood and said he can't have vitamin K with the Coumadin. You can't have leafy vegetables either, they told him, because those are evil now. And took him off of, within a month, it was all reversed. That is phenomenal. It's a sad story, but it's Ted Anderson. That is a real story of the owner of the Genesis Radio Network. And the doctor saying, don't give him Tangy Tangerine, because she brought it in and showed it to him and said, nope, he's not allowed to have vitamin K.
You hit the nail on the head, and I have one too. Actually, this happens hundreds of times a year, maybe even a month. I just don't know about it all. But one case out of Charlotte, North Carolina, to make a long story short, a 62-year-old guy was diagnosed by 5 neurological clinics as having terminal Alzheimer's disease. His sister was told to put him in a hospice. The end was near. She didn't want to believe it. She took him to the medical school in Greensboro, insisted that the head of the department of neurology there examine, and he said the same thing, terminal Alzheimer's disease. And in 1 week on the Alex pack and getting off all the bad stuff and eating 12 eggs a day to rebuild the myelin in the brain, in 1 week's time, he, according to the doctors there, he's perfectly 100% normal. This guy's back to work. He does not have Alzheimer's disease anymore. And I don't think it was Alzheimer's disease. I think it was actually a disease called Korsakoff syndrome, which is curable in 1 to 2 weeks. Alzheimer's disease is preventable by 80%, according to Johns Hopkins.
And by the way, I got to interrupt you. Yeah. When you were on like a year and a half ago and were saying all this, I was like, come on, Wallach, I know this stuff's good, but I don't believe this. Now I've seen it happen over and over again. My entire family rave reviews. My dad, who's a dentist, was like, yeah, right, till he got on it. But I now go to events in Dallas and then one in Florida, and I've done a lot of events over the years. It's never about health. People come up and say, my wife was going to have to be in a wheelchair. She went on this and it came back. Or my mom had Alzheimer's and it's reversed it. I mean, this is what's incredible, is this is really real. And the system knows this, and they're such pieces of trash that they will not tell people because they want to suck money out of them. I mean, that is incredible, Doc. I want to go to calls, but what's your take on that? I mean, I have people now calling me in droves saying, wow, this really does work.
You're exactly right, Alex, and it's a form of slavery. And in fact, in the back of one of my books, I said that it's called Black Gene Lies, where all the diseases of black people are thought to be genetic, or at least promoted to be genetic by the medical community. And of course, I said, no, these are simple nutritional deficiencies. It was actually the publication of that book was subsidized by a pastor in Atlanta, Georgia. Creflo Dollar paid for that book to be published, called Black Gene Lies. And this is beginning to go through the black community, and they're reversing within days and weeks and months all these diseases that are thought to be genetic in the black community. And you're going to see an uprising here. And in that book, on the back cover, I said the black community has exchanged the chains of slavery to slavery from people in white coats and stethoscopes because of this genetic belief. And they have enslaved us because they have diseases that are simple nutritional deficiencies they say are genetic, one of which I was actually fired from Emory University in Atlanta back in 1978. I discovered the first non-human case of cystic fibrosis, learned how to reproduce it, learned the cause, prevention, and cure of cystic fibrosis in 1978, and they fired me because they thought I was sniffing glue. Well, I actually received an international award in 2011 for that work 35 years ago. And we now, and Jerry Lewis was not on the telethon this last year. And the reason was we gave him the data. We've been working on muscular dystrophy. We believe we have found the cause, prevention, cure of muscular dystrophy. We gave it to Jerry. We thought since they're Jerry's kids, he should be the one to make the announcement. And the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation fired Jerry Lewis because he brought him our data.
I didn't know that. That's breaking. I want to come back because I was just going to have you for the hour, but we've run out of time. I want to talk to Matt, Craig, William, CJ, and Kevin. They all want to talk to you. And again, we don't screen calls. I have no idea what they're calling in about, but that should be interesting. If you can do it, I see people standing behind you there. I guess you may have to go somewhere. We'll find out if Dr. Wallach can stay with us. But Undoubtedly, people have mineral and vitamin deficiencies. And a lot of the vitamins they buy are synthetic, go right through you. You need it in the powdered form, and the different formulations from Longevity at InfoWarsTeam.com. This stuff is miraculous, and we all need to be healthy. This is a revolution against tyranny. InfoWarsTeam.com. Look, we're under eugenics attack. That's what's going on here. The globalists have figured all this out over 100 years ago. They want to make us dependent. It's just that simple. Dr. Wallach is our guest. We're going to take calls for 20 minutes, and I'll get into all the other news and continue with your phone calls. But I was just going to do an hour with him, but this is too important. And this stuff is real. You know, the system knows this. And, you know, all of it isn't just going to InfoWarsTeam.com and getting discounts on the longevity products there. You heard him. It's like not overcooking your meat, not eating the stuff with nitrates in it, eating organic. I mean, this is this. And look, it's a process. I'm not perfect. I still do some bad things, but I'm getting better. And I'm getting better for my children. And my wife, who's a lot healthier wise than I am, is getting even better. And my family is. And we're doing all this together. You know, God bless her. She's almost 90 years old, but every once in a while she likes Kentucky Fried Chicken soaked in MSG. A few months ago, my grandma said, I want some Kentucky Fried Chicken. And I brought her some, and I ate a drumstick and had a headache for 2 hours. And I'm like, I'm never doing that again. I knew that would happen. And I told her, I'm not bringing you that again. You know, because most times she's pretty healthy. But the point is, we just got to stay away from this stuff. Dr. Wallach's our guest. We've got Matt, Craig, Williams, CJ, and others. Let's go to Kevin in Oregon, holding first. He's for our guest. Welcome, sir.
Hello. Hi, Dr. Wallach. I don't have to tell you how great your information is, but one of the things I really needed to get a hold of you to talk to you about was I've been told I have to get a surgery to correct 2 herniated discs, and I know that going under the knife is something that I'm really not looking forward to. My question is that able to heal itself, you know, without the surgery?
Yes.
Or is it like a hole in the head where you have to get it sewn up? Or?
Yeah, no, do not get the surgery. The body is a wonderful thing. You give it the raw materials. And I work with professional athletes and military personnel, Olympic athletes, professional athletes, university athletes, and we can regrow the disc. Doctors will say you can't, but then they make the money by doing the surgery, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's all that's been going out is money.
Yeah, and so which one? How much do you weigh?
I was 260 ever since I started, though I've been losing quite a bit of weight.
Okay, well, at 260, let's say you weigh 240 now. You say you lost quite a bit of weight. Let's say you weigh 240. You want to get on 2 Alex packs per month. Get 1 full dose of each of the 3 products at breakfast, 1 full dose of each of the 3 products at dinner. And then the secret sauce here will be what we call glucogel. It's the raw materials, and I can legally say, to support and promote maintenance or repair of cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, disc between the vertebrae. And all your sciatica and all the numbness and burning in the feet, restless leg syndrome, peripheral neuropathies will all go away. Usually it takes 60, 90 days to regrow the disc. I don't care if they're bulging, ruptured, degenerative, they've shrunk, and the vertebrae are getting closer together, smashing the roots of these spinal nerves. We can regrow the disc. We can regrow cartilage.
And it also supports the InfoWar at the same time. We've got the lowest prices there on longevity products at InfoWarsTeam.com or 877-551-1301 if you want to call folks that have joined our team and become members of our operation here to educate people. 877-551-1301. They can tell you how to become a distributor for it. Because I promote what I believe in. And I believe in private property, the family, and all these other people. They are obsessed. Turns out they have secret government gardens for their food. I mean, this is mainstream news, though. Why do you think the controllers know this and enjoy shoveling this at the population?
Well, Alex, there's no doubt the research shows very clearly that chemicals in our diet and GMOs and all these various things you mentioned do have a terrible...
the Second Amendment, national sovereignty, and I know that the elites are all obsessed. Doc Wallach, I've been reading articles even in the LA Times and in other papers where the elites know everything you know. They're obsessed with trace elements and raw minerals, the type of stuff that you've developed. and not these synthetic ones. They are obsessed with purified water. They don't eat GMO. At the Monsanto laboratory, the London Independent and AP reported more than a decade ago. I heard this like a month ago and went and looked it up, and it was something I didn't know, over a decade old. And there were some new articles where at all the Monsanto facilities, their scientists refuse to have GMO served in the cafeteria on these research reservations. So, I mean, the Queen of England's obsessed, the Chinese elite who are shoveling GMO.
Impact upon the human physiology. And that supplementing with all 90 essential nutrients like you find in the Alex Pack do protect you. Well, this is extremely well known in the human health industry. It's certainly known at the high government levels. And these people, what should I say, they're certainly in it for themselves. And I think it's a form of enslavement. It's very